Next joke, and the youth gone wild. Podcast is making your summer a blast. Lined up for interviews or rock. Legends in the game, and new blood trying to make a name. Streaming everywhere. Yeah! And the youth gone wild. Podcast is making your summer a blast. Lined up for interviews or rock. Legends in the game, and new blood trying to make a name. Streaming everywhere.
What is going on, my fellow beach bums? Well, wait, I'm sorry. I shouldn't jump to conclusions. Maybe you are not at the beach. Maybe you are just on a staycation. That's cool too. But myself, Gen X Joe, I am actually on vacation for the next couple of weeks. And then I have a couple of road trips I need to go on with the family and a few other commitments that I need to be taken care of. Now, before you jump to conclusions, the answer is no. No, I am not going to jail. My youth gone wild side is way in the past. That's why my show is now called the Youth Gone Mild Podcast. And just to reintroduce my podcast, it is the Youth Gone Mild, where hairlines fade, but rock never does. And normally I would be saying I am coming to you from my studio called Wherever I May Roam. However, I am actually coming to you from wherever this summer takes me. And these episodes coming up in the next couple of weeks or month, I am calling them the vacation episodes. They are already pre-produced and going to be streaming throughout the entire month of July and possibly into August. I am still going to be bringing you the best conversations, the best stories, and of course, the best guest in the rock scene today. And hell, I have some legends and I have some new blood that's trying to make a name for themselves. Great interviews all lined up. And before I get to the interview, I just want to thank my sponsor, Lisa Gandia of Celebrity Events. If you are a new artist, an established artist, or even an old head, and you are looking to book shows nationally, Lisa is the person you want to get in touch with. Tell her Gen X Joe sent you, and you can reach out to her on her website at celebrityeventsrock.com. For social media, for myself here at the Youth Gone Mild podcast, we are on all major social media platforms at Youth Gone Mild PC. And as I like to say, the PC does not stand for politically correct. All right, so it's time to kick back, crack open something cold, enjoy that sun, the sand if you're at the beach, and most importantly, the sound of the Youth Gone Mild podcast. I am in vacation mode, and these are the vacation episodes of the Youth Gone Mild podcast. Here's today's interview. So you are going to have fun with this interview today, man.
I'm ready.
We'll bust this one out. So
Let's do it.
All right. Should I call you John or should I call you Gene?
I'd say over the phone you call me John. Gene is the guy you see in person that's kind of got women hanging all over him, you know?
Hey, you know what? Me too. Yeah. Usually they're, like 60, 70-year-old women that are like,
Yeah.
You are Gen X Joe. And I'm like, yeah, that's me.
Yeah.
But,
our wildest dreams, you know? Yeah, I hear you, man. It's gone are the days of me, like my wife always says, like, I think that I don't have to worry about you going to show and picking up any ladies anymore. I said, nobody wants to see an almost 50-year-old rock star.
Oh, well, I don't know, man. Look at Steven Tyler.
That's true. I hear you. Well, I'm starting to get to the age right now where like just random hairs grow in random places, and I'm just like, well, I've never had that patch of hair before. And then of course, my wife would be like, "You need to shave that off," and I'm like, part of me is like, "Yeah, you're right. It's gross," but then the other part of me is like, "Well, you know what? I am a man." So it's like men don't normally shave their arms, you know what I mean, or their chests. I don't know, but
Oh my God.
yeah.
You can't get rid of the beard. That is who you are, though.
No way. You know what's funny? I just talked to somebody the other night, and I was at a graduation party, and they said to me, "How long have you had your beard for?" And I had actually had to sit back and I had to think about it. I was like, "Wait a minute. I think I've had my beard for like almost 15 or 16 years." So it's like I almost, and then we were joking around. I said, I probably have to learn how to reshave all over again. You know what I mean? Like you're young and to learn how to shave. I don't think a razor's touched that part of my face in 16 years. It's crazy.
Tell us a little bit or a lot about Gene the Werewolf for those who may not be familiar with the band.
So we are a rock and roll band that formed in Pittsburgh, well, the surrounding areas of Pittsburgh in in 2007. So this year will be our 19th year as a band, which is just absolutely crazy to me. I mean, I can remember my first show playing in a band ever, which was probably when, oh man, when I was 17 and played at a place called Jam and Skate, which is very familiar to people my age in the Bell Vernon area. Um, Big plans in the book next year for our band because it'll be our 20th year. It's cool. We got a lot of things going on. We have a couple albums out. We had a brief stint on Frontiers record, which is a European label that hosts the likes of Journey, Def Leppard, Whitesnake, bands of that era. But we are currently in the mode of kind of in the world we live in now with like streaming and Spotify and everything like that. We've kind of been just taking the approach where we'll kind of release singles and then follow them up with a video. For releasing a brand new single called Never Giving Up. We co-wrote our song, of course, with a couple different people, one of being one of our Pittsburgh favorites, Sean McDonald. And this time we had it mixed by a guy named Kyle Black. And the exciting part about this is we actually had our song mastered by a Grammy award-winning artist. His name is Ted Jensen, and he's been a name in the industry for years. So he mastered the song, and it sounds really, really awesome if I say so myself. So we're pretty excited to put it out.
Just in time for your appearance August 1st at the Fayette County Fair.
I think since we've formed, 19 years ago, we've been trying to play the Fayette County Fair. And I think that as music's changed over the years, I think that like at points, people were always just kind of like, I really feel like people used to be like scared of our band, if that sounds funny. Like, in other words, it was kind of like scared in the sense where in certain places we were too easygoing to play, and in certain places we were too hard to play. And I think that people would always be like, "Oh, Gene the Werewolf, yeah, they're too rough for our crowd, or they're not rough enough for our crowd." So we've been trying to play the Fayette County Fair, which I think they were of the impression that we were too heavy for a long time, but we finally got the opportunity. We're going to be playing with the Clarks. The Clarks are our buddies, and they always put a good word in for us everywhere. So August 1st, we're finally making our way to Uniontown.
There you go, man. Up in Fayette Nam, as we like to call it.
I've actually never been to the Fayette County Fair. I've been to the Westmoreland County Fair.
Well, let's just say you're going to be in for a treat.
That's what I hear. Lots of people watching, I hear.
It's like the open season at Walmart.
Oh, goodness. Man, I can't wait. I've heard I've heard a couple people tell me, they're like, "What time do you guys go on?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know, maybe around 7 or something like that." They're like, "What do you plan on doing after?" I'm like, "I don't know, watching the Clarks." They're like, "Listen, after the Clarks are done playing, get the hell out of there." I was like, "Why?" They're like, "It gets rough." I'm like, "Oh man, you know."
Oh my God.
So,
Listen, I don't know if you remember this show, and it only lasted 2 or 3 seasons, maybe 5, 6 years
mhm,
ago. It was on WGN, and it was called The Outsiders. And it's not based on the movie from the 80s,
mhm.
but it was all about the Appalachian Mountain people, and it was filmed in the Pittsburgh and the Dunbar area where the Fayette County Fair basically is.
Oh, okay.
Um, yeah.
I've never
Um,
seen it. No.
oh, well, I'm not going to go into a lot of detail, but there's were some scenes that were almost cult-like,
Okay.
and it wasn't too far from the truth.
Like very, very realistic.
Very realistic, absolutely. There is a famous road in Fayette County. It's called Hawkins Hollow.
Okay.
I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
No.
Don't go there.
No. Bad things happen on that road.
Listen, I have to tell. Okay, I have to tell you this story. Okay, this
Okay.
is going back like I'll say 25 years ago, if not longer. I was probably a freshman in college. Let's say 1993. Okay.
Okay.
And, I grew up on a farm, which we still have today, but it's not as active as it was. And so we were trying to raise some pigs.
Uh-huh.
So we went up to Dunbar because, back in those days, you had ads in the classifieds in the newspaper. And
Sure.
so we saw the price, the phone number, we called, and, they gave us directions, and you had to find it without GPS, just the map.
Right.
So it was on Hawkins Hollow Road.
Right.
And when you go to Hawkins Hollow Road, it kind of veers off in different directions, not on a paved road, but a dirt road.
Okay.
And anyway, to get to the main part of the story, we got to where we thought we were supposed to be.
Hmm.
So I'm with my father and my grandfather, and we're in our pickup truck, and we see where we're at in the house, and they both look at each other and they're like, "Go knock on the door." Like, oh, okay, that's what I want
So
to do.
sounds like that movie Wrong Turn. If you've ever seen it.
Anyway, Anyway, I knock on the door and literally there was no window, but there was like a sliding slab that
Hmm.
they had, and it opened up like eye level to me, and
Hmm.
all I could see was eyes and a double barrel shotgun tip of it.
Oh,
And
geez.
yeah, and I'm like, I'm here for the pigs.
Yeah.
And they slammed it, and that was it. And I'm standing there like maybe 10 seconds and I'm like, okay, I'm out. So
Yeah.
I
Right.
go back in the truck and I'm like, I think we're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Here's where it gets crazy.
Okay.
We were leaving, and honest to God, picture Herbie the Love Bug
Uh,
as a monster truck.
okay.
Out of the woods, blocking the entrance or the exit, was a beetle like Herbie the Love Bug,
Yeah.
almost dead on, with monster truck tires, blocked us in. And we're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, Pap, did you bring your gun? He's like, no.
Yeah.
So anyway, uh, they get out. They're like, are you here for the pigs? We're like, yeah. They're like, okay. And listen,
Was it the same people from the house?
it was just, well, they must have given him a sign or something out the window. I don't know, but listen, there's a lot of stills that they make moonshine still
Oh,
up in
okay.
those mountains. So I'm
All
thinking
right.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
anyway, the barn looked dilapidated. Okay, we're like, what? Like how are these pigs going to be?
Yeah.
We
Right.
get in there, they make us put like a suit like you're in an episode of Breaking Bad
Right.
on and everything.
Right.
And the barn inside was immaculate. And the pigs, like, okay, so they lasted forever until we slaughtered them and all that. But listen,
Okay.
it's an experience to go to the Dunbar Mountains by the Fayette County Fair.
Oh man, that's that. I couldn't even. It was that. Is that near Peachins at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is no longer in existence.
Right. Right. Right.
Oh, and for those of you who have no idea what Peachins is, it was a famous shopping center that you
Yeah.
could literally get 10-cent hamburgers.
Oh yeah. Yeah. They were good too.
Yeah.
I, I don't know. Like I don't know how that place ever went under. I mean, it was like I remember going there once when I was a real little kid and getting food and sitting down and eating there one day. But I can remember everyone. I was too young to really remember, but I remember them saying like, yeah, you get like a cheeseburger, French fries, and a Coke for like 50 cents. I was like, that sounds amazing.
And listen, that was probably, I would say, up until the early 2000s, if not a little bit longer.
Yeah, they closed down. I remember. I was coherent enough to remember when they shut down. I mean, I was probably in my 20s, but yeah, I remember hearing that and thinking to myself, oh, that's kind of like a local landmark. Now, did they bulldoze the place, or does it still exist? Or
I'm not sure. I haven't been back that way in, I don't know, 10 years.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that the Fayette County Fair is on Peachin Road.
Yes. Yes, you are correct.
Yeah,
Yeah. And it's just down over the hill from the Fayette County Fair.
yeah,
Yeah, I
right.
mean, you could buy everything at Peachin's, from a 50-cent sack of potatoes to a shotgun. I mean, you name the product, they had it.
Yeah, I can remember. Well, one of my first jobs when out of school that I had, I worked, believe it or not, for Enterprise Rent-A-Car, and we would have to. I mean, it's kind of a funny concept because Enterprise always promoted themselves as the company that picks you up. Like, in other words, you call and rent the car, and if you don't have a means of transportation to go and get the car, Enterprise will come and pick you up and take you back to the office to write up the contract.
Hmm.
And I can't tell you the number. I mean, so I worked at the Enterprise in Uniontown,
I know where it
and
is. Yep.
yeah, and I don't know if it's in the same place. It used to be right on Main Street, but
No,
I
it's
yeah.
not. It's now at Day Centennial.
Oh, okay, okay, I know where that is. Yeah, it was not there before. It was on Main Street in Uniontown before, and you know, we would have some characters walk in, and I remember a couple times I'd have to go up towards, oh God, there was like a auto body shop that was up on, like near Dunbar. I can't even remember what it was called. But we'd have to go there, and then I remember I'd have to go to people's houses and pick them up. And I remember driving back on Peachin Road a couple times to go pick people up, and I remember thinking like, this one guy got in my car, and he was coming in. He goes, "You the Enterprise guy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he had two shotguns with him, and he put them in the back seat. And I went, "Yo," I said, "You can't. You got to put those in the trunk." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm going hunting." I'm like, "Well, yeah, like I'm not going to drive around with two shotguns in the back seat." I said, "You got to put those in the trunk." And probably I should have just told him leave them at home and go and pick them up after we're done. But some crazy shit. I'd have to go up to like Nemacolin too.
Oh,
And Nemacolin's nice, but then you get into like some of the backwoods areas up there. It gets a little bit like Deliverance up there.
yes, that is the perfect way of
Yeah.
describing it. And the guy that had the guns, he was just using you as an Uber, dude.
Yeah, right. It's just like, oh my God.
Oh my
But
God.
I'm, made it out of that one in one piece. So,
Well, think about if he actually brought some game back. What was he going to
oh
do
my
with it?
God. I mean, I have some funny stories there that we could seriously have a whole day
Oh my
conversation with
God.
that job. But,
Yes, but let's get back. Let's focus. And I do want to say one thing though, since we are on the topic of Fayette County and the fair.
mhm.
That is kind of like the little salute that the Clarks say in their song Cigarette and the
Oh yeah.
Fayette County Fair.
Correct. Yeah. I think that because of that, that's what like got them their stint there. Like, in other words, like people eat that shit up. I mean, like they love it. Like they go to the Fayette County Fair, and in a way, I mean, I'm not speaking for them, but the way I interpret it is it's kind of like a little bit of like a poke at the Fayette County Fair, but it's in good humor, and they love it. You know what I mean? It's like everyone's like, yeah, that's damn right. You know what I mean?
Right.
But yeah, pretty funny that those guys, Clarks, they're amazing. They're a band that is just, it's like not. We just played a show with them up in Beaver County. It was called Boom on the Bridge, and we've been playing a lot with them lately. I think it's mostly because that we just get along so great. I mean, we're like we know them personally. They're just great guys. It's just a fun time. We have a good time every time we're together. And I was talking to Scott up at the Beaver County show, and he was telling me about how lucky they've been. They've been a band for 40 years, which is just absurd. They've recently had some success with their one song on that show, The Pit, on TV,
Hmm.
and they've kind of had like a little rejuvenation, and their shows are going really, really good. And I was talking, I was like, yeah, man. I said, like, let me ask you an honest question. I said, do you guys work? Do you have jobs? And Scott was like, man, he goes, I'll tell you what, I've been extremely, extremely lucky because I don't have to work this. He goes, music is my full-time gig. And I'm like, so I mean, to be a Pittsburgh musician in, I think Scott is 60 now, and to be a full-time musician in Pittsburgh in a day or in an era where rock and roll isn't king anymore, really. I hate saying that, but rock and roll is kind of like a subgenre now, and it's like to really go out there and do it and be able to support yourself, and your family, and just to do music is just such an incredible feat. And those guys are so awesome and such an inspiration to everybody. So we're honored every time we play with them. So every time we get a show with them, we're just excited.
Yeah, man, they are such a great band. I remember back in the late 80s and early 90s when they first formed. And then when I went to college at Cal U, well, it's now Penn West University.
Right.
Let's just say
Oh
that.
yeah,
But
right. Sure.
but California University of Pennsylvania, they would perform down there all the time.
I remember seeing them when I was young. I mean, to think about when they say they were like 40, they've been a band for 40 years. That means that when the Clarks formed, I was 9. You know what I mean? So it's kind of, it's crazy to think that like this band that formed when I was 9 years old, like I'm now in a band that plays with them often. It's
Right.
great. I'm real big on nostalgia. Like I love things like that. Like this kind of like, I love old pictures. I love old music. I love anything that has to deal with like, wow, that's crazy. I just think it's crazy. You know what I mean? But yeah, they're awesome, man. Good for them.
Yeah, and that just means time stands still for no one.
It does not at all. It sucks.
It does. And just, to elaborate just a little bit on the Clark, Scott is actually from Fayette County.
He is. I think he's from Connellsville, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So he has legitimacy to cut on the Fayette County Fair or take a poke at it if he wants
Sure.
to. Born and bred there, just like me. So I can get away
Yeah.
with it.
Well, ironically, it's a funny story. So I can't remember. I can't remember when the last time we talked was. I can't remember what month it was, but I just gotten married in December, and my wife was from like the Wilkins Township, kind of like the Forest Hills area, and so she's always been used to like like city living and Allegheny County and whatever. And me personally, I live in Bell Vernon, so you know I'm talking about, I mean, on the very, very, I'm like the last of a few houses in Fayette County. That's no joke. Like literally, I live 5 blocks down the road from my parents where I grew up at. And well, let me say this: I live about 2 miles away from my grandmother, and my grandmother's in Westmoreland County. So it's like literally, I'm like on the way out of Fayette County. And but anyways, I get the benefits of all the Fayette County taxes. It's like I've low mortgage rate. The whole shebang. Low taxes.
No
So when
emission, no
yeah,
emissions on cars.
no emissions, no emissions. Um, but my wife, when we moved in together, she was like, "This is amazing. Things are so cheap around here." I'm like, "Yeah, it's Fayette County, baby."
Really take advantage of it while you can.
Hmm.
She'd be blown away with the 5-cent hamburgers,
Oh
peaches.
yeah. Well, yeah, right. Exactly. She's so used to the city living that she would go into this place like Peach and she wouldn't know what to do. She'd be like, "What? I'm scared."
Well enough, if it was still open, she
Yeah.
should be. Because I remember, and I'm going to go back on this. I had to be 6, 7 years old. My grandfather was there shopping, and I went with him, and he picked up a sack of onions.
Oh
Okay,
God.
and it was the last one. And I remember this lady just
Mhm.
whipped around, said, "I wanted those," grabbed them out of his hands, and they went flying everywhere.
Oh my God.
And
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Yeah. 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 It's like I said. Hey, I think every place has their like their peaks and valleys. But yeah, there's more of the places out that way that are just kind of like, how you don't know if you want to, you don't know if you trust it or not.
Right.
But home is home. I'm proud to be from where I'm from. I love Bell Vernon has been home. Bell Vernon is actually 2 counties. I mean, there's
Right.
because Bell Vernon is so big. So Bell Vernon is Fayette and Westmoreland County. And as a matter of fact, before I bought my house, I lived in a rented house. Like I said, about 2 miles down the road. It was Westmoreland County. And one of the things I was real excited about when I moved into my house now in Fayette County was when I went to go get my car inspected. Like you said, I was like, I don't have to pay emissions anymore, And they were all laughing. They're like, "Are you sure I want to see that address?"
Uh, well, listen, I still own the farm that I was raised on, okay?
Yeah,
But I live in Washington County, which is literally 4 miles from
yeah,
my original homestead. So I would go and register my cars at the farm that I owned and not have to pay admissions.
yeah,
But that got changed, and now you actually have to have it where you reside. So I'm like,
yeah.
damn it.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's where they get you.
Oh, so what can the crowd, the audience, expect from Gene the Werewolf when he and the band comes to Fayette County on August 1st?
Well, they can expect a high energy rock and roll show. I mean, not to, everyone's always going to say the same thing about themselves, but I think that, we've only gotten better as a band over the years. We might be a bunch of old farts getting there, but we kind of present ourselves in a way that we still have the energy we used to have. And we recently just got a brand new bass player, actually, and his name is Dan. We're going to be playing our new song that we're going to release on the 7th. We kind of pride ourselves into, making rock and roll fun again. But I think it almost seems like, music has fallen into a category where it's like you go to a show and you sit there and it's kind of like sad and like kind of like, we try to make sure people have fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that we want to give the impression that when you come and see us, you're going to go home that night and be like, you know what, that was really fun. I had a really fun night. Maybe we'll go see them again because that was a lot of fun. So I think that's what you could expect when you come see Gene the Werewolf. A couple years ago, or maybe a year or two ago, we released a vinyl record, and the vinyl record we called "The Best of Gene the Werewolf." And I have to explain, because when we say the best of Gene the Werewolf, we don't mean it in a conceited way, like these are the best songs from our, it's not like that. It's the fact that, when you're a band for so long, the problem is, and you're not on a major label or you don't have like major distribution or whatever. The problem is some of the albums that you released, or maybe some of the CDs that you released maybe 10 years ago, are now out of print. You know what I mean? And you don't have them anymore. So what we did is we compiled a vinyl album that has what we feel are our best songs from those CDs that are out of print. So now they're all on one album. So that's why we called it the best of, Gene the Werewolf. So now what we do is when we play live, our set list is basically just like our favorite songs that we've ever written. So we when you're younger and you're a newer band, you kind of have to just play everything that you have written. And some of the songs are better than the others, but our set list now is, I could safely say, is like after the past 19 years, I could say that there are hand-picked favorites and crowd favorites, from over the years that like people like to hear from us. So it's going to be, all killer, no filler, so to speak.
Nice. And with all the songs that you have out there, okay, believe it or not, the one that I love the most, and maybe because I'm in that nostalgia type of mode now, just kind of like how you like that, is "We Are Family," the old disco salute to the Pittsburgh Pirates of '79.
Oh, geez, yeah, yeah, yeah. No, we will not be playing that.
Oh man, okay, I'm not coming now. Forget it.
No, you know what the funny thing is that was actually, see, that song that actually reminds me of a bad period in the band, and I'll tell you why. Because we were in the period of our band where it was like we released our first 2 albums, and we were just coming off of riding the coattails of our second release, and it was getting to be that period of time where we were like, we had to start going back and we had to start going and writing new material, and for a third album, which would have been The Loner. But right before that, it was kind of like, man, like, we don't have enough songs written yet to record a new album, and it's kind of getting to the point where like the second album is kind of like dying off a little bit, and we need to do something here, and what can we do? And then someone's like, why don't we, like, that was right around the time where the Pirates were doing really, really well. I think it was like the last, like 2013, I think.
Right.
And someone had said, why don't we redo that, that Sister Sledge song and do the We Are Family, and we'll just kind of do like a revamp. Maybe we'll get it like played at the stadium and stuff like that. So we did that, and they did. They played it at the stadium. But believe it or not, the whole time we were doing it, I remember thinking to myself, man, I hate this. It's like, I don't want to do this. Why don't we have to keep up? Like, because years earlier, we rewrote the Pittsburgh Steeler polka, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And we did a version, and it kind of went viral in Pittsburgh. It was like in 2011, and it was like all over the place, and it was like kind of like a thrilling thing for us. So we figured we'd try to do the same thing with the Pirate song, and it did well, but it kind of did not as well as like the Pittsburgh Steelers song. So I think that when we did that, we were just, I kind of felt personally like we were like, what are we going to do? What do we got to do here? Okay, let's do this. And then the whole time we're doing it, I'm like, I don't really want to do this, but I guess we got to do this, So it actually is kind of rewarding to know that somebody out there appreciates it.
Well, hopefully I'm not the only one. Now I'm
Yeah.
feeling like, oh
Yeah,
man.
I mean, it turned out okay, but it was just like one of those eras. I was like, man, I don't want to. So I think after we did that, I'm like, listen, no more sports. We're not going to do a hockey song next. We're not that kind of band. So we never did a hockey song, thankfully.
Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. Let's not do that. Right.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hmm.
I think the coolest thing about your name, Gene the Werewolf, as a band, that it comes from a funny misunderstanding or someone mishearing.
Hmm.
I remember we talked about that, but for those who have no idea how Gene the Werewolf came about with the name, let's tell the story again.
Okay. Long story short, well, it'll probably end up being a long story because it's funny to me, but I'll try to just cut to the main ideas of it. I think I was in college, and I was at, what's the right? I was like a local party and at one of the, whatever. And I used to have really long hair. And at the time I had long hair, and my beard was a lot thicker too. So I had long hair and a beard. And I'm a tall guy. I'm almost 6'2". And so when you have long hair and a beard on like a tall guy, you kind of look burly and kind of like a little bit scary, I guess. I don't know. And we were sitting there and, had a couple beers. And I was sitting there talking to my buddy, and we started getting a little bit drunk. And he looks at me and he's like, dude, he goes, you look like a werewolf. And I'm like, huh? And like, when you're drunk, you have these stupid conversations. He goes, you look like a werewolf, dude. I'm going to start. Now, what he said was, I'm going to start calling you Jon the Werewolf. But because we were a little bit drunk and we were like slurring our speech, I thought he said, I'm going to start calling you Gene the Werewolf. And I went, who's Gene the Werewolf? And we started laughing so hard because I said Jon the Werewolf. And so, like, I mean, I'm talking about for years later, we would Gene the Werewolf. So my friend would call me, hey, what's up, Gene the Werewolf? What's up, Gene the, like, it was just a stupid misunderstanding. So when we were forming the band years later, actually, we were like, man, what are we going to call this goddamn band? I don't know what to call this band. So when we recorded the demo, it was back when you still made CDs. It was still before the digital era. And I just had a CD. It was like of our demo, and I just got a Sharpie and put Gene the Werewolf on the CD. And here we are 19 years later. Our band's called Gene the Werewolf. So that's the story. It's just as stupid as that. And you could thank lots of Miller Lite for that.
No Iron City. Oh, come on, man.
Yeah, it should have been Iron City. That would have completed it. But unfortunately, it was Miller Lite.
Oh man. So I know you got a new song coming out. Other than that, what do you have going on?
Well, we're just going to continue to do our thing. I mean, we have families, all of the guys in the band are married or about to be married. And most of the guys in the band have kids. And so we kind of slowed down. You know, we play when we say we play a lot, or we have a lot of shows coming up. Realistically, I mean, we have about like a span of like maybe 5 or 6 shows from now until the end of summer, and that's plenty for us, and we love it. You know what I mean? So we're going to continue playing out those shows. I am lucky enough outside of the band to sing with Reb Beach, and for people that may or may not know who that is, Reb Beach is the founding member of the band Winger, and also the guitarist of the band Whitesnake. And he is from Oakmont, PA, and I sing in a band with him on my, when he's not touring and when I'm not singing with my band, I sing in a band with him. And we're going to be playing in South Park at the South Park Amphitheater in September. It's called the Reb Beach Band. So the Reb Beach Band will be doing that. I'm lucky enough to do that outside of the band. And I also do a lot of things with, guys outside of the band too, like in this band called the Pittsburgh All-Star Band, which is like with Joe Grishecki, Scott Blasey of the Clarks, Ricky Witkowski, or Jeff Jimerson, the guy that sings the national anthem at the Pens games. We do like little charity events or like kind of corporate gigs with them. And then at the end of the year, I do this thing called a Very Yinzer Christmas, which is actually at the Benedum in Pittsburgh. And last year, I was like my 3rd year doing it, and it's like almost a sold out. So if you can imagine singing on stage in front of like an almost sold out crowd at the Benedum, it's just like really musically kind of like a dream. So I look forward to doing that every year. So lots of ways to kind of just continue my musical journey throughout the year, and pretty excited about it.
Wow, man, that is awesome, dude. Yeah, and I have to ask you this. I had heard you were singing for Reb, but is it true? And I think I even saw this in print not
Mm-hmm.
too long ago, but it was just as I was passing through Facebook. Is
Mm-hmm.
Reb doing stand-up comedy now?
He did do that. I don't think it's a thing, but he did do it. And I was actually going to go see. I think he did it like at like the Pittsburgh Winery or somewhere
Yes.
like that.
Yes,
And
that's
I
where it
remember him.
was.
Reb is actually kind of like a casually funny guy. Like, in other words, when you think of like Reb Beach from Winger, you don't think of him being like a funny, like a guy. You're like, oh, this is Reb Beach, is an incredible guitar player. But he's actually like, when you talk to him personally, you laugh. It's because he's just naturally funny. He doesn't even try to really be funny. So the fact that he's now doing a stand-up routine where he's actually trying to be funny and he is naturally funny, I would imagine it's hilarious. so I've yet to see that, but yeah, he did do 1 or 2 shows like that, and he does it for charity. I think he does it to raise money. I could be wrong on that too, but yeah, that is the myth is busted there. That's true.
Nice. I wasn't imagining things then, so.
Yeah, no, he does it. It's hilarious.
Hey, and I'm considering you, and I mean this in no joking manner. I consider
Mhm.
you a Pittsburgh legend when it comes to music.
Oh.
I do. You got Reb as well. You got Bobby Blotzer out of
Oh
Pittsburgh.
yeah, yeah.
You got, oh boy, Stag from Kingdom Come.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
You
Danny.
know,
Funny story about Bobby Blotzer was in about like 2011. We were playing on the DVE morning show to promote our second album release. This thing you do. You have a second album coming out or a song coming out, you play on the morning show on DVE. And the same morning we were playing there, Bobby Blotzer was on the radio. I guess he also, outside of Rat, I don't even know if he's still with Rat or whatever, but
no,
I guess he also makes salsa. Did you know this?
no,
Yeah, so I don't know if he still does this or not. Like I said, this was in 2011, almost 15 years ago. But he was making his own line of salsa, and he was on the radio promoting the salsa brand that he came out. And I think that DVE probably had him on to kind of like joke around a little bit, but like I don't know, he has his salsa. And we were there and we played our song, and he came down after. He's like, "Yo, what's up, guys?" And we're like, "Hey, Bobby Blotzer, what are you doing?" And he's like, "I really dug the song." He goes, "Where's your show tonight?" Like, "Oh, we're playing that." At the time, it was at Altar Bar in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
And he goes, "I'm going to come down. He goes, "Let me come up and jam a song with you." And I'm like, "Oh shit, this is amazing." So out of all the people, our bass player at the time, who's no longer with us, got his number. And well, long story short, Bobby Blosser did not show up, but he was really adamant he was going to play a show with us. But for months and maybe even years afterwards, our bass player would just send him random texts and go, "Bobby, you motherfucker, what are you doing tonight?" And he would write back and he'd be like, "Oh man, I'm just chilling out." You know, like we would text Bobby Blotzer, and I'm thinking to myself, this is so funny that our bass player texts Bobby Blotzer, but never really hung out afterwards. But it was just, for all I know, he might still have his number. I don't know. Really funny story though.
Oh
But
dear God, dude,
yeah.
you guys need to do that one last time.
He probably won't even, like, remember Gene the Werewolf from 2011? He'd probably be like, who?
Oh my God, dude, that's funny as shit,
Mhm.
man. Oh, wow. Well, here's a thought. Why don't you guys all get together and make a super group?
Oh yeah. Bobby Blotzer from Rat, Reb Beach, the whole shebang. And maybe we'll throw like Scott from the Clarks in there. Be like a Pittsburgh Legends group, Donnie
Absolutely.
Harris.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah, we can't forget Donnie, can we?
Oh my God, what a legend! That dude. Real quick, I know we're ending things here.
Yes.
This is one of the funniest things. You talk about like Pittsburgh legends or whatever, and I remember one of the I'm not saying that I'm a Pittsburgh legend. I'm just kind of just saying that I remember one of the times where I actually thought to myself, you know what, I'm kind of like starting to make a little bit of an impression here in Pittsburgh. It was New Year's Eve, and this was probably about maybe like 2016 or something like that. Well, a couple weeks earlier, prior to that, we had played with Donnie Harris, and I'd done a bunch of things DVE related with Donnie, and we exchanged numbers, not thinking, he's just like, yeah, man, he goes, you ever coming up to Jurgles? Because Donnie does these like kind of like bike nights up in Jurgles where he like guest bartends, and they'll pay him like a lot of money to do so, whatever. He's like, if you're ever coming up in Jurgles, man, hit me up, whatever. It's like, yeah. I said, well, here's my number, and I'll text you to let you know it's me, So fast forward a couple weeks later, I go to this local club in Bell Vernon to drink, like on a Friday night. It's like an old man's club. And a lot of the guys at the club kind of say, oh, here comes John and Gene the Werewolf, like just that kind of, like I'm kind of like a little bit of a local celebrity to these older guys, you know what I mean? It's just really funny. But we're sitting there and it's New Year's Eve, and I went down to the club for New Year's Eve, and I'm sitting there, ball drops, whatever. And, your text messages start going off, and I'm sitting there, I look at my phone, and all of a sudden, I see this text message pop up from Donnie Harris, and it says, Happy New Year's, bro. Hope we get to play again this year. And I went, dude, look, Donnie Harris just texted me. And all the guys in the club were like, oh, man, that's awesome. Tell him to come to the club. I'm like, I don't think he's going to do that. But
And then you should have texted back, what the fuck's up, Donnie?
Yeah, right. I think I was like, okay, what do I say back? I just got to keep it cool here. Just keep it cool. So I was just like, hey, man, you too. Great to hear from you. It was just, so I think that was one of the points where I'm like, maybe my band's starting to get some recognition here.
Oh my God, that is sweet, man. That is sweet. Oh, well, hey, we are going to wrap it up, but I want to welcome you to Fayette County, man.
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you. That's the initiation process. It's official.
Oh, you'll be initiated August 1st.
That's what it is. I can't wait.
Oh, man. Well, hey, Jon, thank you so much for being a guest here on the Youth Gone Mild podcast, man.
Dude, always a pleasure. Always, I like to shoot the shit, so to speak. So,
absolutely, man. Well, hey, you know what? Safe travels to Dunbar.
Hey, don't forget to check out that song, July 7th, and new video to follow up with it too. Recorded by our really good friend Chris Sikra. He's an amazing videographer, man. Really, really good. So
awesome, man. And it's going to be streaming on YouTube, your site, everywhere, right?
Spotify, YouTube, you name it, it'll be there.
Just because this episode is over does not mean summer is over yet. Oh, hell no. We still got 2 full months of summer left, but not quite 2 full months of pre-produced Youth Gone Mild podcast. I should be back second week of August with all brand new openings and closings. But until then, you're kind of stuck with what you got. And I do apologize for that. But like I said, We have a family vacation coming up, a few road trips, and other commitments that I need to be taken care of. I hope everybody understands. I'd just like to thank my guest here on the Youth Gone Mild podcast today, all of my listeners, and my sponsor, Celebrity Events by Lisa Gandia. And don't forget, if you like what you hear, go to my social media pages at Youth Gone Mild PC. Give it a like, give it a follow, leave a comment. And if you're looking for the next episode date of the Youth Gone Mild podcast to resurface, then just follow us on all our social media platforms. And don't forget, we are also out there on all major streaming networks. And give us a like and a follow there as well. All right, this is Gen X Joe telling you to rock loud, live proud. Peace out. Props everyone for listening to the Youth Gone Mild podcast, where hairlines fade, but rock never does.
Gen X Joe.